Hello everyone to another history session of mine. As you all know, my name is Ijaz Ahmed and I teach history at Civil Services Achievers Point. So today I bring for you yet another session of history, and as you all are aware, I was talking about ancient Indian history. But before beginning the session, I want to take you through some of the or I want to take you through some of the very important things. First and foremost, I want to tell you about these two important groups. One is a group which is on Instagram, which is on WhatsApp, and the other is a Telegram group. And if you join these two groups, you will be able to get, if you join these two groups, you will be able to get the PDF of today's session. Apart from it, if you join these two groups, and how will you join these two groups? The procedure or the link, you just need to click on the link which has been given in the description below to join these two groups. And once you click on that link, you will be able to join these two groups. And if you join these two groups, apart from getting today's PDF, you will also keep getting everything that is important from the point of view of this examination. Okay, then getting further ahead, I would also like to talk about this highly interesting and highly effective interview guidance program which we have brought for the ones who have appeared for this year's mains examination. Who have appeared for this year's APSC CCE 2022 mains examination. This will prove to be highly beneficial, and this interview guidance program has got many legs, and two of the legs, in fact 3 of the legs, are already underway. As part of it, we have already conducted 2 very successful YouTube live sessions which were conducted by Sri Robin Kolita sir and Sri Anil Swarup sir respectively. Who is Robin Kolita sir? Robin Kolita sir is an IRTS retired. He is a former director of IRCTC, and he has also served as a former external member of the APSC interview board. Apart from it, there was another YouTube live session which was a very successful session and which was conducted by none other than Sri Anil Swarup sir, who is a retired IAS officer, and he's an Indian author, and he was also the former Coal Secretary of India. Apart from this, we also have with us, Sri Omio Kumar Bora, highly respected gentleman. He has also been the former APSC chairman, highly knowledgeable. He has got years of experience. He is also a part of this interview guidance program. Apart from these 3 highly accomplished individuals, we also have, as part of this interview guidance program, Sri Rajdeep Lekharu sir, who is the founder and director of Civil Services Achievers Point. And apart from these 4 gentlemen, we also have Sri Jepul Rees Kalita and myself. We are also a part of this interview guidance program, and both of us are senior faculty members of Civil Services Achievers Point. And this interview guidance program already, like I said, this interview guidance program has got many legs, and the most important leg, that is the 1-to-1 mock interview session, is already underway. This thing has started from 10th of October. So if you are interested, all you have to do is get in touch with us. We will be sharing the links with you, or you can also get in touch with us. I will also disclose the number. Our number is 9127515541 is the number. Our number is 9127515541. You can get in touch with us. You can give a call on this number, and we will take you through the entire registration process. And all you need to do is, and we are keeping the options open. You can either give this mock interview via online or offline mode. Our office is in Janmari, and nevertheless, I would request you, if possible, try to come for the offline mode, because it helps you in many ways. Online mode is also for the ones who cannot come to Guwahati, but for the ones who can come to Guwahati, I would prefer offline mode over online mode. Okay, so having said that, let's get started with today's session. So for those of you who are not aware, or you guys must have been following my sessions. You guys must have been following my previous videos. In my previous video, what did we talk about? Just give me 1 second. I will pull up this note. In my last video, I ended the class by talking about major rock inscriptions. What were major rock inscriptions? If you remember, I was talking about Ashokan inscriptions. Okay, why are Ashokan inscriptions important? Ashokan inscriptions are important because the thing Ashoka is world famous for, his Dhamma. Dhamma is something which makes Ashok world famous. Okay, this Dhamma can be found in the inscriptions of Ashoka. Inscriptions of Ashoka are the messages of Ashoka which have been left behind for Ashoka. And through these inscriptions, Ashoka wanted to talk directly to his people. And like I said earlier, Ashokan inscriptions can be divided into three parts: major rock inscriptions, minor rock inscriptions, and pillar inscriptions. In my last class, I had talked about major rock inscriptions. Today, I will be starting the class by talking about minor rock inscriptions. Minor rock inscriptions. Now, what are these minor rock inscriptions? And how are these minor rock inscriptions different from major rock inscriptions? See, minor rock inscriptions, we need to know a couple of things about minor rock inscriptions. Now, what are those couple of things? We need to know a few things about these minor rock inscriptions. Number one, we need to know that minor rock inscriptions, in these minor rock inscriptions, the first thing that we need to know is that Ashoka talks about his belief. Ashoka talks about his belief in Dhamma, Buddha, and Sangha. As you know, these three are the three jewels of Buddhism, the three Ratna of Buddhism. So it is in the minor rock inscriptions. That Ashoka talks about his belief in these three things. He believes in Dhamma, he believes in Buddha, he believes in Sangha. He's talking about these things in the minor rock inscriptions. That is number one. Number two, of all the minor rock inscriptions, like we have found several major rock inscriptions from different parts of India, we have found several minor rock inscriptions also from different parts of India. But of all these minor rock inscriptions, the one which is very important for us, is Musky. Inscription or edict. What did I say? Of all the minor rock inscriptions that we have found, that we have recovered from different parts of India, of all those inscriptions, Musky inscription or edict is highly important. And where is Musky located today? Musky is in Karnataka. And why is it important? Why it is so significant? Musky is in Karnataka, but why is it so significant? This Musky edict is significant because, see, in order to understand the significance of this Musky edict, I need to take a few steps back. Please hear me out very carefully. See, if I talk about Ashokan inscriptions as a whole, so see, basically in a normal inscription, you will always find the name of the person who has issued that inscription. You will always find the name of the king who has issued that particular inscription. In most of the inscriptions whom we attribute today to Ashoka, or in simple words, in most of the Ashokan inscriptions, you will not find the name Ashok. In most of the Ashokan inscriptions, you won't find the name Ashok. In place of Ashok, you will find two other names. And those two names are, number one, Deva Nam Piya. Devanampiya. In place of Ashok, you will find two other names. Number one, Devanampiya. Devanampiya. And number two is Piyadasi. Okay, the meaning of Devanampiya is dear to gods. The English translation. Dear to gods. Okay, Devanampiya means dear to gods, and Piyadasi means good to look at. Dear to gods and good to look at. Okay, the meaning of Devanampiya is dear to gods, the English translation, of course, and the English translation of Piyadasi is good to look at. Now, these are the two most commonly used names in the inscriptions. These are the two most commonly used names in the Ashokan inscriptions. Okay, like I said a short while ago, in most of the inscriptions, you won't find the name of Ashok. In place of Ashok, you will find these two names, Devanampiya and Piyadasi. Now, coming back to the significance of the Musky edict or inscription. Okay, in Musky inscription, there is an exception. In Musky edict, there is an inscription, or there is an exception. And in the Musky edict, the name which you will find in the Musky edict is Devanampiya Ashok. Am I clear? This is the name which you will find where? This is the name you will find in Musky edict. So if I ask you what is the significance of Musky edict, the most important significance of Musky edict is the fact. Now you all by now you all may have realized what may be the significance or what may be the importance of Musky edict. See, in Musky edict we find the name of Ashok. In all the other inscriptions, you will not find the name Ashok. In the Musky edict is one such edict where you will find the name Ashok. So when this particular inscription or edict was discovered, in Karnataka region, automatically after this discovery, or when this was discovered, the moment it was discovered, it became quite clear that Devanampiya and Ashok are the same person. Am I clear? That is the significance of Musky edict. Because all this while Ashok was calling himself by two different names, Devanampiya and Piyadasi. Now he is using a different name, and he has used the word Ashok along with Devanampiya. So this makes it very clear that Devanampiya and Ashok are the same person. So all the other inscriptions which we had discovered before discovering this, so all those inscriptions which had the name of Devanampiya, now we can say that all those inscriptions also belong to Ashok. Before the discovery of Musky edict, we did not know a king by the name of Devanampiya. We very well knew about Ashok, but we could not attribute those inscriptions to Ashok because his name was missing, and there was no way we could connect Ashok with Devanampiya. But now there is a way, and the way is Musky edict. It has made it very clear that Devanampiya and Ashok are the same person. That is the significance of Musky edict. Now, talking further about the minor rock inscriptions. See, it is in the minor rock inscriptions that Ashoka talks about Dhamma Ghosha and Bheri Ghosha. Okay, it is in the minor rock inscriptions, very, very important. These two terms are very important. Ashoka is talking about Bheri Ghosha and Dhamma Ghosha in minor rock inscriptions. A short while from now, I will be talking about these two things in a greater detail. What is the meaning of Bheri Ghosha and what is the meaning of Dhamma Ghosha? As of now, all you need to know is Bheri Ghosha has to do with war and violence. Dhamma Ghosha has to do with peace and diplomacy. Dhamma Ghosha has to do more with what? Peace overtures and diplomacy. Okay, so these two words, Ashoka himself is talking about these two things. And where is he talking about these two things? He's talking about these two things in minor rock inscriptions. So to put things in a nutshell, this is what we need to know about the minor rock inscriptions. Now let's come to the third kind of Ashokan inscription, that is pillar edicts. That is what? That is pillar edicts. Now what is the meaning of pillar edicts? Obviously the meaning is very simple. Those messages which have been inscribed by Ashoka on pillars. Now we need to know a couple of things about these pillar edicts. Okay, we need to know a couple of things about these pillar edicts. Historians are of the opinion, historians say that till now we have discovered how many pillar edicts from India? We have discovered around 10 pillar edicts. We have discovered around 10 pillar edicts from different parts of India till now. The number is not very important, just for letting you know. Just to let you know, I am giving you this number. Okay, around 10 pillar edicts have been discovered till today from various parts of India. Okay, this number may go up in the future, if we find another pillar from any other place. These pillars are very, very important. Okay, these pillars are very, very important. When I'll be taking your art and culture classes, I'll be talking about a different aspect of Ashokan pillars. I will focus on the aesthetics. Then I will focus on the architectural side. Then I will focus on the artistic side of the Ashokan pillars. But now is not the time to talk about that phase. Okay, this class is dedicated for something else. When I will be taking your art and culture classes, I will be dealing with the artistic side of the pillars. Okay, not now. So, we have found 10 pillar edicts. Okay, we have found around 10 pillar edicts from different parts of India till today. Now, if I have to tell you some of the most important features of the Ashokan pillar edicts, then the number one characteristic is that Ashokan pillars, where have we found the edicts? Where have we found the Ashokan edicts or Ashokan pillar edicts? Okay, to say it precisely, where have we found? Where are the places located? From where have we found the Ashokan pillar edicts? Ashokan pillar edicts have been found from these Ashokan pillar edicts. They have been found. Okay, they have been found. They have been found where? They have been found at major Buddhist sites. They have been found at major Buddhist sites. This is something which distinguishes, this is something which sets Ashokan pillar edicts apart from major and minor rock inscriptions. Look at the places we have recovered the pillar edicts from. We have recovered the pillar edicts from such places which have a deep connection with Buddhism, which are major Buddhist sites. For example, the Ashokan pillar we have discovered from Sarnath. Okay, this pillar is very, very important because the capital of this pillar. Now, what is the capital? I will talk about. Capital is one of the most important features. Okay, Ashokan pillars. Okay, now I am talking about the architectural side of the pillars. Ashokan pillar can be divided into various parts. Ashokan pillar. The most important part of an Ashokan pillar is the capital, which consists of animals. Now, the capital of the Ashokan pillar, which has been found at Sarnath, the capital has been taken, and that capital has been taken to represent the national emblem of India. Okay, national emblem of India. Okay, that is the capital I am talking about. So originally that capital belonged. Okay, originally that capital was present on the Ashokan pillar. Okay, originally that capital was a part of the Ashokan pillar located at Sarnath. And we all know the connection of Sarnath with Buddhism. Sarnath is that place where Buddha is believed to have delivered his first sermon. So major Buddhist sites. Okay, like for example, we have found another. Okay, like for example, we have found another Ashokan pillar from Sachi, MP. Okay, then for example, we have found another important Ashokan pillar from Lumbini. Lumbini or Ruminde. Okay, Lumbini or Ruminde. So as you can see, be it Sachi or be it Lumbini, okay, the one we have found from Lumbini, it is very, very important. It is important for more than one reason. I will talk about those reasons. But let's first talk about the one we have found from Sachi. We all know the importance of Sachi with respect to Buddhism. Sachi is not just the place where we have the famous Sachi Stupa, which was originally built by Ashok, the great Stupa at Sachi. Today it is known as the Mahastupa or the great Stupa of Sachi, which was originally built by Ashok. Okay, if you go to Sachi today, you will find 3 stupas. Out of those 3 stupas, the one which is known as Mahastupa or the great Stupa was built by Ashok. Okay, Sachi was even important during the lifetime of Buddha because the contemporary king of Buddha, that is Bimbisara, is said to have gifted a land to Buddha at Sachi. So Sachi has always been a place. Sachi has always been important from the point of view of Buddha and Buddhism. So, I mean, because we have found these pillars from important Buddhist sites, so we have found a pillar from Sachi also. Now let's talk about the pillar which we have found from Lumbini or Rumande, okay, or Ruminde, which is in Nepal. This pillar is not just important from a religious point of view, but this pillar is very, very important also from historical point of view. Why? The pillar which we have found from Ruminde or Lumbini is also very important from a historical point of view. It helps us today in reconstructing that part of ancient Indian history. Now how? See, because as we all know, Lumbini or Ruminde, okay, Lumbini, it was the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. Okay, it was the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. Now, but how can we be so sure that Gautam Buddha was indeed born in that place? How can we say with utmost certainty? How can we say with utmost certainty that Gautam Buddha was born in Lumbini? How can we say with utmost certainty? We can say with utmost certainty because of this particular discovery which we have made from Lumbini. It is because of this Ashokan pillar. Why? Because if you read the inscription of this pillar, Ashoka says very clearly that I am visiting Lumbini. I am paying a visit to the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. What is Ashoka saying in this particular inscription? Ashoka is letting us know, or Ashoka is informing, or Ashoka is declaring that he is paying a visit to the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. Now, since Ashoka himself is saying that he is visiting the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, that is Lumbini. So there remains no doubt as far as Lumbini being the birthplace of Buddha is concerned. Okay? There is no doubt about it. So what this pillar does is it reconfirms. History is all about reconfirmation. Okay? It reconfirms the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. It reconfirms, very, very important point. It reconfirms the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. That yes, Gautam Buddha was indeed born at Lumbini in Nepal. Okay, apart from that aspect of the of this particular pillar, if you read the inscription of the Lumbini pillar, okay, you will come to know that Ashok is talking about something else also. Ashok is talking about something else also. What is Ashok talking about? Ashok is also talking about that, Ashok is also letting us know, or Ashok is also talking about the fact that when he visits Lumbini, he exempts, okay, he does what? He exempts. When Ashok visits Lumbini, he exempts the people of Lumbini, the people who used to live in that part, who used to live in Lumbini, he exempts them from paying a tax. He exempts the people of Lumbini from paying a tax called Shadbhag. Ashok is also talking about this tax called Shadbhag. I mean, his intention was not to let us know about this particular tax, but this is something which we infer from this particular inscription, because Ashoka is saying that I am visiting Lumbini, and after visiting Lumbini, I have exempted what? I have exempted the people of Lumbini from paying this tax called Shadbhag. Why? Because Lumbini is the birthplace of Gautam Buddha. So that is the least I can do, something like that. Okay, something like that. That is the least I can do as a mark of respect, towards Gautam Buddha. And what is that gesture? I can exempt the people of Lumbini from paying a tax by the name of Shadbhag. So what do we come to know from this particular information that Ashoka provides? We come to know about a tax called Shadbhag. And what is the meaning of Shadbhag? You see, how do we deconstruct history, or how do we reconstruct history? This is how we reconstruct history. If not by direct means, then we reconstruct history through indirect means. We infer. Okay? We infer. Now, like I was saying, so the meaning of Shadbhag is, what is the meaning of Shadbhag? The meaning of Shadbhag is 1/6 of the produce. 1/6 of the produce. Whatever is the production, whatever is the value of the production, 1/6 of that quantity has to be given to the state in the form of a tax by the name of Shadbhag. That was Shadbhag. And Ashok this time is exempting the people of Lumbini from paying this tax. That piece of information is not as important as knowing about a tax called Shadbhag. We come to know about a tax called Shadbhag, that there was a tax during the Mauryan period by the name of Shadbhag. And I will be talking about more taxes when I will be talking about Arthashastra. And of course about the Mauryan administration. Okay, so a very, very valuable piece of information has been provided to us by Ashok in the Lumbini pillar inscription. Then talking further about the pillar inscriptions, another very important point I want to draw your attention to. I also want to draw your attention to another very important aspect of the Ashokan pillar edicts. And what is that very important point? That very important point is that Ashokan pillar edicts have been found. No doubt, they have been found at, like I said a short while ago, they have been found at major Buddhist sites. Another interesting thing to note here is that, another interesting or fascinating thing to note here is that Ashokan sites, or the sites of Ashokan pillar edicts, the places where we have found the Ashokan pillar edicts, they are mostly confined to North India. They are mostly confined to North India. Okay, they are mostly confined to North India. Okay, what did I just say? The Ashokan pillar edicts. Okay, we have found Ashokan pillar edicts. They are mostly confined to North India. We have found, okay, barring one Ashokan pillar edict, which is also, which today which today seems doubtful whether it is actually a pillar edict or it is something else. But barring that pillar edict, all the other pillar edicts have been found in North India. Have been found in North India. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? As a student of history, how can you look at this piece of information? As a student of history. So, as students of history, we can look at this piece of information. Okay? As students of history, we can interpret this as, okay, or we can interpret it to mean, or we can interpret it to suggest that maybe during the time of Ashok, Buddhism was not popular in South India. No doubt that later Buddhism traveled to South India. It became very popular in South India. No doubt about that. But at least during the time of Ashok, Buddhism did not travel much to South India. It was largely confined to North India. That is why maybe we have found almost all the Ashokan pillar edicts from North India. And since we have found, and since the Ashokan pillar edicts have been found from major Buddhist sites, and since those sites are mainly confined to North India, can we say that Buddhism may not have been as popular in South India as in North India? Do you see how we connect Ashokan pillar edicts with Buddhism? Or how we are connecting Ashokan pillar edicts to arrive at a point, okay, which tells us, or which gives us a picture about the demography or about the growth and development of Buddhism in India. This is how we reconstruct history. So these are some of the most important, okay, these are some of the most important features that we had to know about Ashokan, that we had to know about Ashokan pillar edicts. Okay, anyway, now let's move further ahead. Now there was once a question, being asked by UPSC, and that particular question was, comment on Mauryan Empire's foreign policy. Okay, comment on Mauryan Empire's foreign policy. Now, as you all know, what is the meaning of foreign policy? Foreign policy, as far as this foreign policy is concerned, we just need to know about one thing. This foreign policy refers to the kind of relations a country is supposed to maintain with other countries, or the kind of relations a kingdom is trying to have or establish with other countries. That is the meaning of foreign policy as far as this question is concerned. So, in order to answer this question, we can take this particular approach. See, Mauryan foreign policy, it can broadly be divided into two categories. Okay, or if I pull out a fresh slide, it will look something like this. Mauryan foreign policy. Mauryan foreign policy can broadly be divided into two parts. Mauryan foreign policy can broadly be divided into two parts. First will be pre-Kaling. And second would be post-Kaling. Okay, first would be pre-Kaling and second would be post-Kaling. Mauryan foreign policy can be divided into two parts. The one which was prevalent during the pre-Kaling phase and the one which came into action during the post-Kaling phase. And by what do I mean by Kaling? By Kaling I mean Battle of Kaling. Battle of Kaling, which took place around 261 to 262 BCE. Around this time. 262 will come before 261. So 262 to 261 BC, around this time. Okay. The Battle of Kaling is that particular battle which is said to have changed the life of Ashok. It was a life-altering moment for Ashok. And Battle of Kaling refers to modern day state of Odisha. And in this battle it is stated Ashoka saw the massacre of millions of people, and it moved Ashoka so much. It moved Ashoka so much that he gave up the path of violence for good. Okay, it was this Battle of Kaling. So it was a life-changing moment for Ashok. It was a major turning point in the life of Ashok, this Battle of Kaling. And this Battle of Kaling now becomes the basis. It now becomes the basis of dividing the Mauryan Empire. Based on Battle of Kaling, we can divide it becomes the basis for dividing the foreign policy of the Mauryan Empire. Based on Battle of Kaling, we can divide the Mauryan foreign policy into two parts, pre-Kaling and post-Kaling. Now, this is the importance of Battle of Kaling. Now, see, what was the Mauryan foreign policy like in the pre-Kaling phase? Pre-Kaling phase, if we talk about pre-Kaling phase, pre-Kaling, before the Battle of Kaling. Before the Battle of Kaling, if I have to say this in one word, it was all about Bheri Ghosh. Remember Bheri Ghosh? It is a word which has been used by Ashok himself in one of the minor rock inscriptions, Bheri Ghosh. The literal meaning of Bheri Ghosh. What is the literal meaning of Bheri Ghosh? Sound of war. Sound of war. So in other words, Bheri Ghosh means nothing but what? Bheri Ghosh, it refers to violence. Or it refers to what? It refers to political conquest. It refers to political conquest. Or it refers to political expansions. Okay, we can also call it political expansions. Political conquest or expansions. Actually, to cut a long story short, pre-Kaling, during the pre-Kaling phase, Mauryan Empire focused on expanding its territories. Mauryan Empire focused on expanding its territories through the use of violence and bloodshed. Okay, what can we cite as examples to prove this point? Obviously, we can start, because pre-Kaling, it is not about Ashok. It is about the entire Mauryan Empire. So we can start from Chandragupta Maurya himself. Okay, we can talk about Chandragupta Maurya's attempt to extend the borders of the Mauryan Empire towards the northwestern frontier. We can talk about his war with Seleucus Nicator. It was a war, right? The peace treaty was signed after the war. After presumably Seleucus Nicator lost to Chandragupta Maurya. So that was that is an indication of what? That is an indication of the Bheri Ghosha phase. That represents the Bheri Ghosha phase. We can also talk about the fact that it was the successor of Chandragupta Maurya, okay, Bindusara, who is said to have what? Who is said to have reconquered the Deccan area, which was previously reconquered by Chandragupta Maurya. So that will also come in the Bheri Ghosha phase. Then when Ashoka comes to power, okay, then when Ashoka comes to power, he leads an expedition. He leads an expedition against Kaling, which leads to Battle of Kaling. That will also come in the pre-Kaling phase. Okay, which was all about what? Which was all about Bheri Ghosha. War, political conquest, expansions at the cost of millions of lives, hundreds of lives. So that was the Mauryan foreign policy before the Battle of Kaling. Okay, they focused more on political conquest. So now, which was important also. Okay, which was important also. In fact, Kautilya talks in favor of expanding one's territory in Arthashastra. Okay, in fact, Kautilya in Arthashastra advises a king. Okay, he tells a king to be always on the lookout to expand its territory as much as possible. Because the more you expand, the more amount of land will come under your control, and the more amount of land, okay, and the more amount of land comes under your control, the more amount of agriculture can be practiced by you. Because agriculture is all about land. It depends on the availability of land. More the land, more will be the agricultural production, and more the agricultural production, more will be the revenue for the state, because the state imposes tax on that agricultural production. So ultimately, Kautilya is speaking in favor of expanding one's territory from the point of view of increasing the revenue of the state. And increasing the revenue of the state is very, very important. Otherwise, how will the state maintain, how will the state bear all the expenses which are required to undertake various welfare schemes for the people? Everything is interconnected. Modern day public finance which deals with both expenditure and income of the government. Okay, so Bheri Ghosha phase was all about, the pre-culling phase was all about Bheri Ghosha. Okay, now let's talk about the post-culling phase. The post-culling phase is about Dhamma Ghosha. Now this is again a word which has been mentioned by Ashok himself. This is again such a word which has been mentioned by Ashok himself in the minor rock inscriptions. Ashok talks about Dhamma Ghosha. Now Dhamma Ghosha becomes a prominent feature of the Mauryan foreign policy during the pre-culling phase, when Ashok gives up, when after the battle of Culling, like I said a short while ago, after the battle of Culling, Ashok gives up the path of violence for good and bloodshed for good, and he adopts a different approach altogether, and that different approach comes to be known, Ashoka himself is calling it Dhamma Ghosha. And what is the literal meaning, and what is the meaning of Dhamma Ghosha? Cultural conquest. Cultural conquest. See, if I have to talk in terms of international relations, okay, if I have to put these two things in modern day perspective, I am talking about Dhamma Ghosha and Bheri Ghosha. If I have to put these two things in 21st century perspective or in modern day perspective, then I have to talk about international relations, IR. And in international relations, there are different kinds of power. In international relations, there are different kinds of power, like hard power, soft power, smart power. Okay, now depending on the situation, you need to, depending on the situation you are in, you need to apply one of these powers. Now, what is the meaning of hard power? Hard power would include things like war, okay, military aggression. In other words, hard power is more about Bheri Ghosha. See, ultimately, in international relations, every country is trying to do what? Every country is trying to promote something known as hegemony. Okay, hegemony. Hegemony, Hegemony. In simple words, what is the meaning of hegemony? Hegemony is nothing but dominance. Every country has the right also to promote its own version of dominance. Every country would like to have an influence on other countries. That is known as hegemony. Every country tries to do that. Every country. And the way you can promote that influence, the way you can influence other countries, there are many ways you can influence other countries. You can either influence other countries via hard power or soft power, or by a mixture of both these powers, which is known as smart power basically. Now hard power includes things like wars and battles. Hard power includes things like wars and battles. Now there is something called soft power also. Soft power is more about diplomacy. Soft power is more about diplomacy, as well as soft power includes other things like, for example, in today's date, today, few of the most important soft powers of India are Bollywood, cricket, and nowadays yoga is emerging as one of the most important soft powers of India. These three things. Now what do these three things do? These three things over the past many years, okay, yoga has started doing this only recently, but the two other things, Bollywood and cricket, over the past many years, these two things have projected a good image of India. These two things have projected, or you can say these two things have left behind, or these two things have improved the reputation of India. These two things have left behind. See, it's all about impression. These two things have gone a long way. These two things have gone a long way in creating a positive image of India, is what I'm trying to say. These two things, and now yoga has also done exceedingly well. These three things have gone a long way. These three things have gone a long way in in establishing or in forming a positive image of India in the minds of foreigners, in the minds of the people of other countries. This is the power, this is the significance of soft power. Without any violence, without any war. Okay, without any war, you are cutting a positive image of your country. Without any war, you are living such a long-lasting impression. You are living such a long-lasting positive impression in the minds and hearts of the people of other countries without even waging a war. That is the importance of soft power. And this is what Ashoka tries to do during the post-Kaling phase. This is exactly what Ashoka is trying to do during the post-Kaling phase, which Ashoka is calling what? Dhamma Ghosha. And what are some of the things Ashoka does during this phase? What are some of the things Ashoka does during this phase? Ashoka, for example, he does not wage any more wars. He does not wage any more wars, but at the same time, he tries to develop friendly relations. He tries to develop friendly relations with many other foreign kingdoms. He tries to develop friendly relations with many other foreign kingdoms with the help of his Dhamma. With the help of his Dhamma. Cultural conquest. See, the word here means cultural conquest. He doesn't try to politically conquer any other kingdom, but he tries to win over them. He tries to win over them. He tries to win over them with the help of his ideology, with the help of his moral ideas, with the help of his messages, with the help of his culture, with the help of his Dhamma. That was his idea. Okay, for example, it is during this phase that Ashoka establishes friendly relations. It is during this phase that Ashoka establishes friendly relations with Antiochus II. Who was Antiochus II? He was the ruler of Syria at that time. He was the ruler of Syria at that time, Antiochus II. Okay, so Ashoka tries to establish friendly relations with Antiochus II, and he is successful in doing that. He establishes friendly relations with Antiochus II. Not just Antiochus II. We come to know of at least 5 kings. We come to know from Ashoka's inscriptions, we come to know of at least 5 kings that Ashoka maintains friendly relations with. One of them was Antiochus II from Syria. Apart from that, Ashoka tries to establish friendly relations with the kings of, for example, Lebanon, okay, Egypt, Okay, Libya. This is Egypt. Then parts of Europe. He tries to promote his policy of Dhamma in these parts also through diplomatic overtures. He does not wage wars against any of these kings, yet his Dhamma travels to all these parts. Libya also. So his Dhamma travels to, if I have to talk in terms of region, his Dhamma is traveling to Africa, West Asia, as well as Europe. See, his Dhamma is traveling to West Asia, Europe, as well as Africa. Apart from it, the fact, although we do not find any mention of this in his inscriptions, but yet historians are of the opinion that Ashoka sent his son, Ashoka sent his son Mahindra and his daughter Sanghamitra. He sent his children to promote the tenets of Buddhism in Ceylon or Sri Lanka. This will also come under Dhamma Ghosha. So all these things are being done by Ashoka during this particular phase. Which we call post-Kaling phase. So this is the way I want you guys to approach this particular question. Okay, this is the way I want you guys to approach this particular question. Very, very important question. This is a very important question from the mains point of view. Now, without any further delay, let's now talk about a few things. Let's now talk about a few things that Arthashastra or that Kautilya talks about in Arthashastra. Okay. Arthashastra. Now, one of the most important things, why am I saying one of the most important things? Because if we discuss this most important things, various things will get covered automatically. One of the most important things that Kautilya touches upon in Arthashastra is Saptanga theory. Is what? Saptang theory. Saptang. 7 limbs. Kautilya or Chanakya is talking about 7 limbs of a state or a kingdom or a country, without which, if any of these limbs stops operating, then that particular kingdom or that country will not be able to function nicely. 7 limbs. Okay, 7 limbs. At the center of this whole Saptang theory is Swami. Today I will just flesh out this theory. I will be explaining this theory in the minutest of detail in my next class. Today I will just flesh out the names, of all the 7 limbs. Swami, who is right at the center, who is right in the nucleus of this Saptang theory, Swami. And Swami, in other words, is the king or the emperor, Swami. Then there are other very, very important limbs, like for example, Mantri, then Danda, then Mitra, then Kosh, then Kosh, then Durg, Mantri, Danda, Mitra, Kosh, Durg, and at last Janpad. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 most important limbs of a state or of a kingdom or of a modern day country. Why am I calling a modern day country? Why am I bringing the concept of country into this? Because as you shall see in my next class, as you shall realize in my next class, these 7 limbs of Kautilya are still very much relevant. Swami means the king, like I said. Mantri means ministers. Danda means what? Law and order. Law and order. Police and all will come under Danda. Okay. Danda basically means law and order. How law and order is supposed to be maintained with the help of the forces. Okay. Which of that a force or few forces need to be there to maintain law and order. Danda looks into that aspect. Then Mitra, friends. Okay. A king has to have friends. Before taking on an enemy, a king has to make sure that he has got enough strong friends. That is the concept of friends. India has got many friends. Okay. Kosh basically talks about the revenue aspect. For a king to be successful, for a king to be able to undertake what? For a king to be able to undertake, measures. Okay. Measures, or you can call them what? You can call them development measures, okay, or welfare schemes. To be able to do so, he has to have money. So Kosh talks about that aspect. Then Durg, Durg talks about defense. The aspect of defense, how important defense is for a kingdom or for a modern day country. Okay, and at last Janpad, it talks about Janpad means what? People and territory. Without people and territory, there is no meaning of a state. Okay, without people or territory, no country, no state, no kingdom can be there. So people have to be at the forefront of all the strategies, of all the plans that Swami makes, in all the plans that Swami makes with the help of his ministers, in all the plans that a king makes with the help of his ministers, who has to be kept at the forefront? The welfare of the people has to be kept at the forefront. That is, the welfare of the Janpad has to be kept at the forefront. This is the message which Kautilya is trying to give us through Saptang theory, and we shall be discussing this in greater detail in our next class. So with that, I'm ending this session of mine. Thank you so much. I will see you all in my next session. Okay, till then, take care.